Hey guys, what's up? My name's Todd, and today we're playing Magic the Gathering Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012 for the Xbox 360 arcade. And similarly to what I've done in the past couple videos that I've done for Magic, I'm basically going to cut this deck down to 60 cards, and we're looking at the Sarkhan Bull Dragon's Roar deck, which is black-red. So this one's super duper easy to do. And I'll do this pretty quick, because I know I could sit here and ramble about every single card pretty long. But basically, you know, you want to keep the removal that we have in here for Burst Lightning. But the trick of this is we actually are ditching all of the black cards out of the deck. So the Disfigures, the Festering Goblins, as nice as they would be with having the Voracious Dragon trigger Devour for them. That would be sweet, but we cut those out. We cut out any life gain cards because it just doesn't make sense for the deck. Now, there is life gain in decks that actually work, and some of them kind of make it the object of the deck, or the goal of the deck to acquire life gain beyond whatever capability the other deck has in dealing damage. Those do not ever accomplish that. They will net you an okay amount of life, but at the same time it's almost always better to get to the point where you're out of reach, not just, you know, adding a couple hit points here and there. Dragon Fodder is a card I wanted to point out where you actually do net card advantage in a deck like this. It's very tough to get card advantage with red normally. But what this is 2 creatures for 1 card, and that's definitely a bonus. The goblins we keep in the deck. Goblin War Driver's okay. He's really good in other decks, but in this he's okay because we don't normally ever get like a horde of creatures. It's kind of rare that ever comes across. Ruby Medallion is incredible. It reduces the cost of all your red spells, which once we get finished cutting out all the black in the deck, that'll be all that your deck is. And you'll notice also your win conditions are going to cost over 5 mana normally. Even though we're ditching all the black out of the deck, Duels of the Planeswalkers, you're unable to go in and pick out every single land and, you know, choose which lands you want to play. So we are stuck with a couple swamps after the deck's finished. And if you happen to draw him when you have this guy out, he's pretty sweet. Otherwise, he's just another Goblin Piker. But I've noticed if you ever play against the computer, they like prioritize this guy a lot. So you might actually get him killed before you get other stuff that you'd rather keep on the board killed. Assassinate, playing black or not playing black aside, is in my opinion, subpar card. So I'm more than happy to get those out of the deck. Dragon Speaker Shaman is super good. He is easily, I don't know, he's probably the best card in the deck, just because he reduces all your amazing, hard to deal with win conditions by 2, and all those like 5-6 casting cost guys are now, you know, 3 and 4 casting costs, which is way easier to acquire than drawing into, you know, 5 lands, 6 lands, 7 lands, depending on what you're trying to play. Giant Scorpions are meh. Luckily we're not playing black, so we don't even have to really think about whether or not we should play those or not. Goblin Offensive is, you know, one of those other rare occasions where we can actually net some card advantage. We definitely keep him in, or this in here, because you can get to those points where you get 5-6 lands out, and, you know, then all of a sudden you net yourself a few goblins, and that can be pretty nice for normally blockers by that point in time. Or if you draw a Voracious Dragon or something like that, you can, you know, get rid of a troublesome creature or finish off the opponent even. Manic Vandal is pretty good, but in this deck we actually run a couple artifacts, and it's almost too risky to have him in the deck and then draw a medallion, because you'll notice you rely on those medallions. You rely on Dragon Speaker Shaman, so you really want to save them, and having a guy that can threaten that possibility is kind of rough. Or even worse, drawing him and just holding him for no reason because there's no target for your opponent. most opponents will play a decent artifact, some equipment or something like that, but a lot of the times you'll notice he'll sit and rot in your hand, so I actually get rid of him. And once again, since we don't ever really get a horde of creatures very often, Rally the Forces is kind of meh. You know, it might be a combat trick, but a combat trick for 3 mana that might work is like not really that great. But in order to get the deck down to 60, I cut 1. And I really like having the other creatures. I could cut a piker or something like that, but I like having the goblins. So I do keep 1 Rally the Forces. Crucible of Fire is incredible. Gives all your dragon creatures +3/+3. And you'll notice the biggest difference when you play it with Furnace Whelp, because for 4 mana, or even less, if you have like a Dragon Speaker Shaman, for 2 mana, having a 5/5 fire-breathing, flying death machine could be pretty good for you, I would guess. The 3 toughness is what really sells it for me. Is like, I can't count how many times these Furnace Whelps have been like burst fired or disfigured, or I forget what that vampire spell is. The neg 3, something like feed me. I don't remember. So yeah, they're super good with those, and all your other dragons. I mean, you'll notice you're probably winning anyway when you have like 5/5 flyers in play, but it doesn't hurt to have 8/8 flyers, I guess. Gravedigger, he's always been a favorite card of mine since I started playing, because I really liked zombie-themed decks back in the day. But like, now that I know how to play Magic, I don't really play these that often, because, you know, having consistency for me is way more important. So drawing no black cards is definitely better. So actually getting rid of the Gravediggers, if you want to keep them, you'll keep a few swamps in the deck, making those nulls have the ability to discard. But in our case, since we get rid of all the black cards, it actually does get rid of the swamps in the deck. So that's definitely sweet. We have a mono red consistent deck. Every land you draw, you'll be able to use, which is excellent. Voracious Dragon is awesome. He's the devour creature that I was referring to before. He basically allows you to get rid of any creatures that are on the board. If you have a couple goblins in play, he can shock or fire blast creature or opponent, and he himself becomes, you know, 5/5 or 6/6 flyer, depending on how many guys you eat. If you want to eat a bunch, he becomes bigger and he hits harder. Flame Blast Dragon is Blaze on a stick. He's pretty much a win condition if he goes unanswered, as is every card to the right of him. Hellkite Charger, I've never ever been able to pay his untap and attack again ability, because it turns out 5/5 flying haste creatures usually will win the game if they go unanswered. Much is the same case with Rorik's Bladewing. He's just a 6/5 flying haste. Yeah, just a 6/5 flying haste. Volcanic Dragons are pretty vanilla. They're 4/4 flying haste, which seems like not even really that great, but at the same time, once you have Dragon Speaker Shamans, Ruby Medallions, that kind of stuff in play, you'll notice these guys are kind of tight. Like, you're playing them for, you know, 4 and 5 mana, and having 4/4 flyers are kind of tough to deal with in this game. And last but not least is Furyborn Hellkite. He costs more than everything in your deck, with the exception of Goblin Offensive, because it's the next spell, you know. But a lot of the times, you know, you'll get a bunch of goblins in play, and one of them will get through, giving you Bloodthirst. Or what I've had the most is, like, flying is so hard to deal with. One of my dragons will just hit and qualify for the Bloodthirst. So having a 12/12 flyer is pretty much good game unless they have something to deal with it, like right away. Basically go for the throat, or like a rest, I suppose. There's only a few cards that really can deal with that in this format, quote unquote. So yeah, basically the summary is get rid of all the black cards, choose 2 red cards that you just don't like, and get rid of them. My choices for the 2 red cards were Manic Vandal, for the reason of destroying your own Ruby Medallion, and Rally the Forces because it is difficult to optimize, you know, get yourself in an optimal position to play that card. So I'll more likely do another one of these here soon. But what I want to request from you guys is to please suggest another deck that you would rather see me do, because I'll pick one at random, or just whatever's next on the list, and I'll do the deck list for that. But if you guys have a specific deck that you're curious about, seeing how I trim it down to 60, or maybe you just want ideas, maybe there's a deck that you like but you haven't been able to play because it's just weird looking and can't get it down to 60, let me know in the comments section, please, and whatever like suggestion gets the most upvotes or thumbs ups, or most suggested deck, that'll be the one that I do. So yeah, go ahead and leave that comment and I'll get to that next, but stick around and I'll have a couple videos that I want to suggest for you guys to watch. Okay, I've got 2 videos here, both Call of Duty Black Ops, and the top one I have Capture the Flag. Now, I have a warning here, a little disclosure. It's over 20 minutes long, but it is a live commentary, so if that's to your liking, this might be something that you'll enjoy. Although, I understand, for the length that it goes, that it might not be feasible for some of you to sit and actually dedicate basically a whole episode's worth of something to. But I do get kind of winded, and it's hard, it turns out, to play for like basically 20 minutes while talking the entire time. Below that, I have a non-live commentary. It is also Capture the Flag on Summit, and it's about 15 minutes long. And I'd basically just kind of go over Capture the Flag as a game type and talk about my likes and dislikes, and just random Call of Duty jargon. So if you're into either of those, go ahead and check them out. I really appreciate you guys watching, and take it easy.